Today I'm going to read The True Story of the Three Little Pigs, written by John Sieska, illustrated by Lane Smith. The True Story of the Three Little Pigs. Everybody knows the story of the Three Little Pigs, or at least they think they do. But I'll let you in on a little secret. Nobody knows the real story, because no one has ever heard my side of the story. I'm the wolf, Alexander T. Wolf. You can just call me Al. Now, I don't know how this big bad wolf thing got started, but it's all wrong. Well, maybe it's because of our diet. Hey, it's not my fault that wolves eat cute little animals like bunnies and sheeps and piggies. That's just the way we are. Now, if cheeseburgers were cute and cuddly, folks would probably think kids were big and bad too. But like I was saying, this whole big bad wolf thing is all wrong. The real story is about a sneeze and a cup of sugar. This is the real story. Way back, once upon a time, I was making a birthday cake for my dear old granny, and I had a terrible sneezy cold, and I also ran out of sugar. So, I walked down the street to ask my neighbor for a cup of sugar. This neighbor was a pig, and he had built his whole house out of straw. Can you believe that? I mean, who would build a house out of straw? Of course, the minute I knocked on his door, it fell apart because it was made out of straw. Now, I didn't want to just walk into someone else's house, so I yelled, Little Pig, are you in?" There was no answer. I was just about to go home without any sugar when I felt my nose started to itch. I felt a sneeze coming on. Well, I huffed, and I snuffed, and I felt a great big sneeze. Achoo! And you know what? That whole straw house fell down. And right in the middle of that pile of straw was the little pig. He had been home the whole time. Well, it seemed like a shame to leave a perfectly good ham dinner laying in the straw, so I ate up the piggy. You kids can think of it as a big cheeseburger just laying there looking delicious. Well, I was feeling a little better after that great big sneeze, but I still did not have any sugar for my cake, so I went to the next neighbor's house. This was the first little piggy's brother, and he had built his house out of sticks. I rang the doorbell in the stick house. No one answered, so I called, Mr. Pig, are you in?" This piggy yelled, "Go away, wolf! You can't come in. I'm shaving all the hairs off my chinny chin. Well, just then I felt another tremendous sneeze coming on. I huffed, I sniffled, I tried to cover, but I sneezed a great big sneeze anyways. Achoo! And you're not going to believe it, but the stick house fell down just like the straw house. And when the dust cleared and the sticks settled, the second little pig laid there. So I did the only thing there was to do. I had dinner again. Think of it as having a second helping. I was getting awfully full, but my cold was feeling a little better. And I still didn't have that cup of sugar for my dear old granny's birthday cake. So I went to the next house. This guy was the first and second little pig's brother. He must have been the brains of the family because he built his house out of bricks. I knocked on the brick house. There was no answer. I called, Mr. Pig, are you in? And do you know what that rude little piggy said? Get out of here, wolf! Don't bother me again. Talk about rude. I bet that piggy had a whole big bag of sugar, and I only needed one little cup for my birthday cake. Well, I was just about to give up and go home, maybe just make a birthday card instead of a nice cake, when I felt my cold coming back. I huffed, and I sniffled, and I sneezed again. Achoo! And I kept huffing and puffing and sneezing and making a real scene. And that's when the cops showed up. The rest, they say, is history. The news reporter found out about the first 2 pigs that I had eaten for dinner, and they figured that a story about a guy borrowing a cup of sugar wasn't very exciting, so they jazzed up the story with all the huffing and puffing and blowing the house down. And they made me the big bad wolf. That's it. The real story was I was framed. But I'm still looking for a cup of sugar.